Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the Holosun 507C. I have talked about this optic before, but today I'm going to tell you guys why this is the only optic that you should consider for your pistol. Okay, and the reason for that is because this 507C, or its variations, because they have made a couple of different variations, different colors, so forth. This optic is the only one that offers you 3 reticles. Okay, it offers you a circle plus dot, dot only, and circle only. And the circle only is going to be really important to us. That's going to be the most practical for pistol shooting. Okay, now why do I say that? Well, first of all, with the pistol, right, that's going to have an optic, you still need iron sights on this, right? You need iron sights that will co-witness. Now, you might say that if your presentation is perfect, right, you don't need the iron sights. That dot should be there every time. Well, here's the thing. Real life shooting is not perfect, okay? You're going to have to come out and shoot one-handed in different directions, okay? So you got to be able to, find your iron sights really fast, because you may not find that optic, okay? So if you're having any difficulty finding your optic, you go to your iron sights, which will help you find your optic, right? So having iron sights on a pistol is really, really important. So why the 507C? Okay, why does that make a difference? Well, going back to what I said, this offers you the option, right? Just by holding down the negative key, you can cycle through the 3 settings, right? It defaults to circle plus dot. You hold it down for 3 seconds, then you get dot only, and then you hold it down for another 3 seconds, you get circle only. Okay, circle only is really important, because if you look at my irons, let me get behind the camera so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. So okay, I'm gonna have to edit this part in because the focus was off when I did it. So you can see how with the 32 MOA circle, how the two naturally work together, right? So you have your front sight post over there with the fiber optic or the glow in the dark, and then your 32 MOA circle is around it. So I think that causes less of a mental conflict. Okay, versus with the dot only. Alright, so basically you're looking at 2 dots, and mind you, it's not that bright today. If it were brighter today, the fiber optic would be lighting up even more, and it just becomes a mental conflict. Which dot are you supposed to look at? I don't know. It's just, in my mind, the circle and the dot work together better. Also, it's just a lot easier to find the larger 32 MOA circle. Usually at night, because these fiber optics at night don't light up. But what happens is, because the 32 MOA circle is brighter, it reflects off of the inside walls, right? So you see the walls over here? You tend to see a reflection at night. So you kind of have an idea of which way you're supposed to move it, to find it. So just because it's a bigger circle, it gives you, it's easier to find at night. Essentially, you have 2 dots that are competing with each other in your mind, okay? And you can say, well, you just put the 2 dots on top of each other or one over the other. But, it's 2 things that are a little too close to the same. Whereas with the 507C, you have a dot with a circle around it. So I think that your brain mentally accepts that better. It seems more natural. So that's the main reason why I say that the 507C, as of today, as of December 2020, all right, is the only option that you should be considering for your pistol. Okay, and you're not going to hear me say that about rifles. Now, most of the time I keep it in the circle only position. When I want to zero in, I switch it to dot only, because it's a little easier for me to to zero in. If I'm doing night shooting, if I know I'm going to be doing night shooting, I'll also switch it to dot only, so because so it doesn't overwhelm the target. So here's the thing: if you're doing night shooting and you're shooting, let's say, at a fine target like those 4-inch targets that I have over there hanging from the wood, okay, yeah, the circle at night is it's going to overwhelm it. But if you're shooting at a target, let's say the size of these barrels over here, which is like a man-sized target, it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't overwhelm the target. So if you're trying to shoot something that's small, yeah, you kind of have to switch it to dot only. If you're shooting it at night still, and you know, if it's a large enough target, if it's a man-sized target, then you could just put the circle right on it. And what happens is at night with the circle only, right, because it's a 32 MOA circle, you're actually able to find that circle faster, even if you don't have, let's say, glow-in-the-dark sights. And the reason is because you're going to see a reflection off the inside walls. Right, you see the cover that this thing has here, where you're going to see a bit of a reflection off of the walls over there, so you know which way to move move the pistol in order to acquire that circle. And the reason why you see that reflection is because it's a 32 MOA circle. It's bigger, whereas if you switch to a dot only, which is a little bit finer, you're not going to see, with a dot only, you're not going to see the reflection on the walls to give you a clue as to which way you need to orient the gun. And better yet, if you have glow-in-the-dark sights, you know, that's ideal. You'll be able to find it even easier. And then, of course, you know, your front sight post is glowing. You put your 32 MOA circle around it, you know, and you're good to go. So that's why I'm telling you guys that the Holosun 507C is the only optic that you should be considering. Of course, it's a big plus that it is also, you know, it's solar powered. I generally, with most of my other Holosuns, like on my rifles, I keep them in solar power mode, which automatically adjusts. With the pistols, I generally keep them in manual mode. The reason is because this thing is really bright. I mean, even on a sunny day, it's so bright it can be overwhelming when you have it in that solar powered mode that automatically adjusts. So most of the time, I just keep it in battery mode. And I'm able to bring it down so it's not overwhelming. But you can always put it back into solar mode. You just hold down the plus key for 3 seconds, and it switches back into the into solar power mode with auto light adjustment. But that's just a personal preference. I don't think that makes that big a deal. One last thing I'm going to mention, really important: make sure you get a slide, right, that has the little studs that come up and insert into the optic. Okay, because one of the first slide that I bought for one of my P80s, it did not have those slides that come, those studs that come up and insert. And what happens is, if you don't have the studs that come up and insert, the only thing that's holding the optic in place is the screws, and then from the vibration, they're going to loosen up. This slide over here has 2 studs that come up and basically lock into the optic, and this has never come loose on me. I've never had to re-zero or anything, and I've got, you know, since I put this on here, I've probably shot several thousand rounds. So you absolutely have to have the studs that come up and insert into this Holosun. There's 2 different methods I've seen. One is you have separate, because the bottom of this optic has these 2 holes that are separate from the screws, and then there's another one where you have holes that actually insert into the screw hole. It's kind of weird the way it works. So the screw holes are actually a little bit smaller than standard, and then the stud kind of inserts into that. But regardless, you got to have studs that come up and lock into your optic to prevent it from moving and coming loose. This one over here, because this has the R mark cut. This one has a different. It still has studs, but it's a slightly different design. But the point is that because it has the studs, this has not lost zero either. But the most important characteristic of your pistol optic, right, is that it has to have that 32 MOA circle. Now, I had one optic. I had a swamp fox, right, and that was it was a 32 MOA circle with a dot in the center, and it worked okay. Problem with that one was the battery life was real low, but the problem with that is because that one was only circle plus dot. I could not get rid of the dot. And then what happened was sometimes, because again, if you're shooting at night, sometimes you want to get rid of the circle and use dot only if you're trying to, shoot small targets. So I really like the option that Holosun gives you of being able to go, circle plus dot, dot only, circle only. Okay, so And so that's why I say that the 507C is really the only thing you should be considering for your pistol right now. And as far as your slide, make absolutely sure that it has the studs that come up and insert into your optic. Otherwise, your optic will never hold zero. It will loosen up. I don't care, if you got, I don't care whether it's a factory Glock, because I've heard the same thing with the factory MOS Glocks. The optics will come loose if you don't have a stud that inserts up into the optic. Okay, but this one's done really well thanks to those studs. So I hope you guys found this video useful. And like I said, I don't work for Holosun. I'm just, I'm just giving you guys advice based on my experience of shooting almost every day. Okay, that's what I do professionally. I train people. I train new shooters. I'm able to see what new shooters are able to learn the fastest. Okay, and that's really important because if they're learning it fast, that means you're going to learn fast with it as well, and you're going to get better with it as well and continue to improve from that. Okay, so thanks for watching. If you're not a member of the channel, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.